Natural selection. Natural selection is the process where a population of organisms adapts over time to better suit the environment they inhabit. There are three main different types of natural selection, including directional selection, stabilizing selection, and sexual selection. Each type of natural selection has 5 main steps. The first is offspring, where an oversupply of offspring is produced so there is an increased chance of survival. Then there is variation, where every member of the population has different genetics, so if the gene that led the parent to survive to reproductive age doesn't appear in one baby, it has a chance to appear in another member of the parent's offspring. Next is selection, where members of the population with favourable traits in their respective environments survive to reproductive age and reproduce. Then there is reproduction, where surviving members of the population reproduce. Finally, there is inheritance, where the genes from the survivors are inherited by offspring from their surviving parents, creating ever-changing populations which change over time to become better suited to the ever-changing environment. A cool example of natural selection is the evolution of giraffes' long necks. Their longer necks are a result of 2 types of natural selection: directional selection and sexual selection. Directional selection is where an extreme distinct feature is evolved into a species population over time due to selection pressure against features that might not work as well in the specific environment that the species inhabits. So, giraffes originally had shorter necks. However, short necks did not give them the ability to eat leaves off the trees. So, through directional natural selection, giraffes evolved longer necks through giraffes with longer necks surviving to reproductive age, and their offspring inheriting the long neck gene. Sexual selection is where some individuals in a population have more reproductive success because of their attractiveness to mates. In many instances, sexual selection is often carried out by a spar between 2 males trying to impress a female. The male that wins is the more attractive, and its traits get passed down through the generations. In giraffe populations, male giraffes fight with their necks. Typically, the giraffe with the stronger, longer neck will win the spar and breed with the female, causing the offspring to inherit the long, strong neck gene. So, giraffes evolved their long necks because the genetic mutation of having a long neck helped giraffes survive against all the selection pressures, yeah. And so then they breeded with the ladies and they passed down the gene to the next generation. And then because there's an oversupply of offspring, then at least one of them is going to have that genetic mutation variation or whatever. So then that one will survive and it'll pass it down to the next one, and so yeah. Also, there's 4 main types of natural selection, but the last one, disruptive selection or something, is incredibly rare, so I decided not to include it in my thing because it's only in parasites and beetles and stuff so giraffes have also evolved tons more little features to help them survive throughout, they've got thicker hearts to help them pump the blood up and down the neck, which would have happened because all the giraffes, despite having long necks, would have died because they weren't getting blood in their head. And then they've also got their coat, which helps them camouflage and stuff. And their long legs, as well as having a long neck, also help them get to leaves and stuff. And they also have they sleep very little, a couple minutes a day, which is an adaptation, not really evolution, but it's still there to avoid predators and stuff. So yeah. And there are other food sources in giraffes' habitats, but like the trees that they eat from aren't like really eaten by anything else there. So like there would have been limited numbers of, you know, whatever giraffes and stuff I mean zebras and stuff are eating. So like all the giraffes with long necks back when they were still evolving would have had the advantage of like unlimited food source because nothing else was eating those leaves. So yeah.